Hey everyone, this is Josh with IGN. I'm here with Tom, and a brand new big box arrived today in the mail. What do we get from Valve?
This is the Valve Index. It's Valve's new VR headset that after they kind of split with HTC on the HTC Vive, this is now their own thing with their own Valve on it instead of HTC. And yeah, I'm excited to open it up.
Yeah, they announced this about 2 weeks ago or so, and then they told me that they were shipping us our review unit, but it was kind of like unclear. And then out of the blue, this beautiful looking box arrives. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so we already broke this seal. It's got this really like nice thick sticker on the front that you can see the labels of kind of what's inside it there reflected. We already broke that open just because it was actually like you needed a knife to cut through it.
We really couldn't wait. I mean,
that too.
Let's be honest.
And right off the bat, you have I'm going to try not to dump all of this out, but you have all of the kind of main components, right? The headset, the two controllers, and the two base stations.
Here, why don't I hold up so you can kind of see your face here, yeah.
So I'll take these out before they fall out. These are the two new 2.0 base stations.
They're really small. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, they're much smaller, much lighter than I was expecting too, which is a nice improvement over the last ones just from a kind of form standpoint. Next, probably what was most exciting to me is these what were called the Knuckles controllers, now just called the Valve Index controllers. These are really, I think, the biggest draw of the Index because unlike other VR controllers, you have this strap here, and what you do is actually slip your hand in the strap, tighten it with the elastic, and then you can just let go. And you have your buttons, and this actually is all touch sensors, so it can tell when your fingers are touching in sort of any combination. And if you want to pick something up in a game, you just grab, and if you want to throw something in a game, you just throw and let go of your hand, and it's all there. And then it's got this nice little button that you press the button, and the strap loosens. I was this is a really cool form factor. It's just very, very slick, very easy to use. We were talking a little bit beforehand about the idea of like, man, is it just gonna fly off your hand if you try to throw it? And thankfully it doesn't feel like it will. But obviously we haven't tested it quite yet.
Yeah, I've only used the other ones where you have to use the wrist strap, which seems kind of, cheap, I guess. This one is nice and snug, it's nice and firm. You can just, drop it and not worry about it falling out of your hand at all.
Yeah.
It's a really nice solution.
And this will have wrist straps too. They're not attached yet, but you can have that double level of security if you are worried about throwing it away from you.
These controllers have 87 sensors a piece. It's insane.
Nice.
It's pretty insane.
And it doesn't look like that, right? It doesn't look like a thing that is covered in tracking dots and sensors. It's a pretty slick thing. Next we have, this is Velcroed in. This is just the little pack of like instructions and that sort of thing. It's a nice little presentation. Once again, this whole box is just really well put together, really nice looking, very nicely made. You've got a little Valve Index like lens wiper.
Yeah, like a little soft cloth.
And then a million little books. All of these are just the different sort of instructions and things in different languages. Obviously, you'll only need like one of these, if that. And then finally, the coup de grace.
The resistance. Yeah, let's take it out.
This is the actual Index headset, which comes out quite nicely, and there's even more in this box.
Oh, there's even more underneath.
We'll come back to that.
Let's do that, yeah.
Because this is really the bread and butter of it, right? Which I just popped out the face mask of. There you go.
We'll show that. How does that work?
This is just like, this is the part that goes along your face. I imagine they're making it easy to remove. Actually, it's just magnets, so I don't feel so bad like I just broke it or anything.
Does this rest on your? Does this sort of rest on your nose then, or is it more of like a kind of like a tight on your forehead type thing?
I think it's attached to more kind of tension. Like you can see, this is just sort of keep it up. It's not really like a taut thing or anything like that. And then I think most of it is just like sort of squishing your face. It's got that same thing where you can pull it out here, and it's got a little flex there.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it on yet. You also have, I know, the there's an FOV adjustment dial here. You've got little dials for adjusting kind of your eye focal points here. And then this whole panel actually comes off the front. And this is just a little piece of clear plastic. And that hides this slot right here, which is actually an expansion slot for developers. It's not really meant for like public people who are just going to be using their Vive or their Index to use. It's for people to if they want to add like an extra sensor, or they want to play around with something else, developing games, developing new technology, there's a little USB in the front there, hidden behind a little plastic frame.
Yeah, that's one of those safe features that is kind of a black box right now. I remember talking to Valve's PR about this when it was launching, and I just said, what is it? You know, can you give me a statement on that? And he just said, we're modders and we're makers, and we just want to leave the door open to that in the future.
Yeah.
You know, details to come. So
you've got a really, really slick little dial here to adjust. You can see the tension kind of ratchets back and forth. This is really smooth. And then another really interesting feature of the Index, the headphones actually aren't supposed to touch your ear.
Off-ear headphones.
When you put it on, it's about this far off of your ear, and it's just to give you more ambient sound. I imagine you'll want to play it in a quiet room as a result of that. But yeah, it's a really, really nice, slick thing. I'm not sure, again, we just opened it, so we don't know how it feels to actually wear yet.
Look at this, they move up and down like that too. See that?
Yeah, there's a lot of adjustment there.
It's pretty slick.
And then, of course, you have a big spool of cable going off of the back. That's the, I think they call it the
Trident cable,
Trident cable.
USB, power, and DisplayPort.
Functionally, what Trident cable means is that you only have to worry about one cable coming off of the headset, and then all of the other cables kind of splinter off once you actually need to plug them in somewhere towards the bottom, which is what you can see here. So that's like HDMI, and I think there's a USB, a DisplayPort, a USB, and a power cable. That's kind of the core of the top layer of the box.
So one thing that's actually really unique about the Index is it's kind of mix and match with the Vive hardware.
Yeah, so this is like a $1,000 package. But one of the important things is you can buy any piece of this individually. So if you just want the headset upgrade and you already have an HTC Vive set up, you can always just buy the headset and use that with your old stuff. Or if you just want the fancier controller tracking, you can plug that in with your Vive Pro headset and just do that. And similarly, these things, the Index headset and controllers, will work with the old 1.0 base stations. So if you don't want the 2.0 base stations, you can just cut those out entirely as well. And you sort of mix and match based on your budget, how much of an upgrade you want, that sort of thing.
Yeah, you save money eventually if you buy the $1,000. Buying the kit for $1,000 is cheaper than buying all the parts individually.
Yes.
Not a surprise.
It is, and I imagine eventually those old systems will sort of get aged out in some way. But there is still a little bit left in this box. It's not nearly as exciting as this stuff. But
now we're getting down to the... Go ahead.
We got these fancy little ribbons. You pull this out, this whole piece comes out, and there's actually even more. So, as we get deeper, again, they continue this really nice aesthetic of this shiny plastic. You've got a couple mounts for, these are for the base stations.
There's also some screws here if you want to put it in your wall, looks like.
Oh yeah, these are drywall screws with little drywall mounts. In these little boxes is similarly just a bunch of, it's like the charging cables, the power plugs for the base stations. It's nothing really exciting, nothing unexpected, but it's nice that all of that stuff is really neatly included. That's for the other one. You also have these guys, which are charging cables for the controllers. These are just USB-C charging cables. So they're, pretty straightforward. You can see you actually plug it in right in the bottom there. It just goes in, the USB-C side into that, and then the normal USB, I guess this is just 2.0, to charge it with on the other end. You could probably just use any USB-C cable for that if you want it.
There's little straps in here too.
Yeah, these are also the wrist straps that attach if you want a little bit more security. And then we also have these guys, which I think are the cables for the base station. I hadn't actually opened this yet. Yeah, this is all the cable stuff for the base stations. That box is probably getting lighter now.
All right.
And this is like a power cable to plug into the charger, which we just opened up over here. And then down, you finally have the headset stuff. So the headset box that is here is, again, a power cable and the power cord and plug for it that kind of comes off of the Trident adapter at the end of that. A lot of cardboard piling up now, but finally we have this little weird piece, which is like a foam squishy thing, and I had no idea what this is. And I finally looked through the manual, because why not? This is actually kind of clever. Let me loosen this up just a little bit so I have more room.
It looks like a spacer, right?
It looks like some sort of spacer, maybe
a small
for
head.
Forehead. I don't know what it is. It's actually for smaller heads. So what you do is you take this, and it's got this it's very squishy and it's got this sort of notch thing, and you stick that in the hole in the back, and then that makes the headset both squishier, and it also makes it so that you have just one point of contact, and it makes it a little smaller. So if you want it a little snugger, you want that adjustment, you can just put that in there and it sort of changes the form of the actual headset, which is neat and cool and just kind of a nice little addition, but sure was confusing when I opened this up at the bottom of the box, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, quality of life improvement there.
Yeah, definitely. So that's about it. Like I said, the bottom layer of the box is less exciting,
Yeah,
but
still necessities.
these controllers are just real cool. They've also got a little thing where you can pull it and change the actual fit, or excuse me, push it in, and you can change the adjustment of this. It sort of swings around, and that changes if you have a bigger hand or a smaller hand. You can make sure it fits your hand correctly. It's just a really slick package, I feel like. And we'll have to see if that actually translates into a slick VR headset.
Well, that is our unboxing of the Valve Index. For all things Valve Index, stay right here on IGN.